Security Breach's free DLC Ruin is coming out sometime this year, and we need to talk about what's in store. It's been a while since I've just talked about this DLC, and a few months at least since I've talked about what I think will happen. So I figured it's time to do an updated video, go over all the new information that we've gotten on it, and give my updated prediction for what I think is going to happen in it. So slices, put on your aprons, and let's bake ourselves a theory. First, let's gather our ingredients. What exactly do we know about Ruin? Well, frankly, not that much. But we have received some new information even within the past few months. The first thing we ever got was so vague that you could argue it wasn't actually a teaser for Ruin at all. Out of nowhere, Steelwool just released this poster of Chica's chowder. It's weird, it might be notable, I guess check the box for it. This was all we got for the first few months of 2022, so I kind of took it and ran with it and assumed that the DLC would be about this Kids Cove area that we never got to see, and it would actually be a prequel and all that. But then literally a week later, Steelwool gave us, to date, our biggest lore drop about Ruin, immediately disproving that whole thing. So, onto that. Last summer, we got this, a poster with a title drop and a lot of little details packed into it. So let's go from most obvious detail to least. First, the title of Ruin. Big and bold. That plus the destroyed Pizzaplex in the background is really trying to hammer home that this is going to take place after Security Breach, probably after an ending where the Pizzaplex gets ruined. Next, we have this mystery girl right front and center of the poster. Her actual silhouette is completely grayscale no matter how much you raise the exposure. However, she does have these sick light up red and purple sketchers. She's interesting for sure. On the left, we have this melty, ruined looking Chica. Interestingly, there is some orange dripping from her mouth. Now, I personally believe that this is trying to tell us that in Ruin, this is taking place in a timeline where we did not destroy Chica because there's no orange left to melt into orange, but it's a small drawing, so it could be garbage juice, it could just be melted metal that's molten and dripping. It is hard to tell. Next up, there's these monitors that show any security log with Gregory on them. One of them, just a picture of Gregory with static in the background and the text, "Help me." And finally, the most subtle inclusion. Some of you eagle-eyed watchers might notice those two red eyes in the top left corner. That is important, but if you crank up the exposure, there's a pair. There's the red eyes in the top left and a barely visible pair of red eyes in the top right. This poster is a bombshell. I could and have created videos entirely just about this poster, but luckily we've got some more information since then. About a month or two ago, GameJolt hosted an interview with some of the developers from Steelwool, and we did get some nuggets of information. Of course, they didn't reveal too much, they probably legally can't, but we did learn that they really want to make this expansion as scary as possible, almost as a slight way to make up for the fact that the main game isn't that scary at all. They also specifically mentioned that they know fans really liked the daycare section and the endo maze section, so they were looking towards that for game design and inspiration for parts of Ruin. Finally, we get some more information about Ruin by the leaked story GGY in the upcoming Tales from the Pizzaplex book number 5, Bobby Dot's Conclusion. Spoilers for that story, but it goes over some crucial details about Gregory and the Pizzaplex in general. Two details seem very important to me here. First, it goes into how that Gregory was likely completely taken over by Afton before Security Breach happened, and how he was using Gregory to generally get the Pizzaplex ready to take the glitch trap virus. This pretty much shows us that Vanny wasn't the perfect form of an Afton minion, as Vanessa is still part of Vanny's mind. Gregory was. Afton seeks total mental control over a victim. The second detail that seems important to me is this one-off character we meet named Amelia. A quarter way through, there's this whole section about how this 8 or 9-year-old girl is having so much trouble with the Fruity Maze arcade machine, kicking it, yelling it, all because she keeps getting a game over. Eventually, she gets thrown out. Why do I think she's important? Because she's an 8 or 9-year-old girl with pigtails who's described and mentioned in the book and then never talked about again. So I think this might be our Ruin poster girl. Regardless, she sounds important, so we'll make a note for her. That's sort of all the information we have about Ruin specifically. Sure, we have all the information within Security Breach, the game, and some other stories that mention the Pizzaplex, but specifically about Ruin, that's all we have. So let's take those ingredients, mix them together, and see if some theories start to form. I still think the poster is our biggest clue into what's actually going to be happening in the Ruin DLC, and frankly, it is still the place where most of the information we have about the DLC is from. But before, when we were theorizing, we had to use this poster and try to extrapolate information from it. So I think it would be better to take the information we have and try to use that to explain the poster. So let's list what we have on this poster. A girl in the front, photos of Gregory with the text "Help me," a ruined Chica, a ruined Pizzaplex, and a pair of eyes. One a lot more hidden than the other. Let's start with what is probably the most easily explainable part about this poster: the ruined Pizzaplex. We have several reasons for why this Pizzaplex could be crumbling. First are the two endings that could result in something exactly like this. In the fire escape ending, we literally see Freddy just light the place ablaze as they leave. And in the Afton ending, we literally see the Pizzaplex crumbling to the ground as Gregory and Freddy run away. So either of these endings could lead to what we see in the ruined poster. But don't forget how unstable the entire building is anyway. We see it crumbling on the way to the Afton fight. We know Roxy Raceway is built over a sinkhole. We know there's a giant slumbering beast lurking under the Pizzaplex waiting to wreak havoc. So theoretically, any of these endings could result in a ruined Pizzaplex. So it doesn't tell us much about which ending is canon, but this DLC does lean towards the idea that it's taking place after Security Breach. And hopefully the DLC comes out after you've hit the subscribe button to get a FNAF theory every week and a short every week and stuff like that. It's pretty cool, thank you. So what's next to explain? Well, there's this girl. I think that makes the most sense that with the people we've been introduced so far, it's going to be Amelia. Now, granted, this could just be a completely new character that we've never met before, but Amelia's inclusion in GGY is just too strange to ignore. In my experience, if an author describes something specifically in a story, it's because that thing is going to be important. Not even in my experience. This is just a literary trope. It's called Chekhov's gun. Essentially, it's a narrative principle that states if an author describes something and directly puts it within a story, that thing is there to serve a specific purpose. For an example, if an author took time to describe a loaded gun on a table, that's because someone's gonna try to fire it at some point. Amelia is GGY's Chekhov's gun. She's specifically pointed out, physically described, given her own scene, and we never hear from her again. And her inclusion wouldn't even be unsatisfying to the majority of players in the franchise, non-book readers. Because if you don't read the books, you play Ruin and you meet Amelia, it's, oh cool, new character. But if you have read the books, you get that benefit of book character. It just makes too much sense to me. Next up, we have this odd pair of eyes. Again, one prominent one and one hidden one. We have a few candidates here. There's the Glamrocks, there's Sun and Moon, there's Vanny and Afton, but could all of them be possible? Well, I hesitate to the Glamrocks for two reasons. First, yes, because Chica is here, it could be possible that this is Monty and Roxy. But first, it feels weird to differentiate Chica from Monty and Roxy specifically. And second, why would one be more hidden than the other? Surely they would either be all together as animatronics, or at least Monty and Roxy as the new blood and Chica as the old blood. And I run into the same issue with Sun and Moon. Well, actually two issues. One, Sun and Moon should be similarly emphasized, but two, Sun and Moon is the same character. They have one set of eyes. It can't be two. These eyes are barely visible. They're in the shadows. We would need something in these games that is ever present, but barely seen. For these eyes to work, we'd need a present evil and a controlling, barely present evil. Almost exactly like Vanny and Afton. Vanny is manipulating these animatronics on the floor herself, going after the player, but she is in the background, hiding from us as much as she's trying to catch us. Afton even more so. He's literally in everything, but he's also nowhere. He's invisible, he's untouchable, and he's in your face. Like eyes that you can barely see without searching. I think these eyes have to be Vanny and Afton. It makes too much sense. On the next part of this poster, we have this weird piece of bread. What? Oh, that's not a part of the poster. That's my bad. I left one of my custom Rito stickers on my wife's Etsy shop that you can get on the link below and in the cards. They're like $5 for 12 stickers. It's a pretty good deal. We make them ourselves. I'll have to get that out of there. Sorry, folks. This one's my favorite. Now we come to the weird bit. Gregory. If Gregory is here, that would mean he never escaped. But the two endings we have of the Pizzaplex definitely crumbling, he does escape, which would either mean that he lost, which I already did theorize, but that does feel unsatisfying, or the front door ending occurred, where he ran away, but not good enough. Both of these are possible, but neither help us explain why the Pizzaplex is in ruin. We need an ending where Vanny and Afton are both alive, the Pizzaplex is ruined, but Gregory is still trapped. And frankly, we don't have one. I don't see one happening at all. The closest thing we have is the Afton ending, where we don't see Vanny die, but then Gregory gets away and Afton dies. Well, he gets carried away by the blob, but surely he's dead, right? But even so, Gregory left, so why would he need help? Unless he has left, and he doesn't need help. Because Gregory isn't here at all. It's all a trap to lure in Amelia. But why would Afton and Vanny want to lure in Amelia? Why, the same reason they lured in Gregory to turn him into GGY. They need a child to help their plans go along. Alright, I think we have a theory here. So let's pop our mixture into the oven and see what kind of horrors rise. The day they've been planning for. The security breach where Vanny and Afton finally infect the Pizzaplex with the glitch trap virus failed. They were so close to having perfect, total control over the perfect bait for children to experiment on and learn more about Remnant, so Afton can finally achieve his dream, and it slipped through their fingertips. The body they used for Afton ran off. Gregory escaped, and in doing so, left their entire plan in rubble. He even stole their star attraction, but they did gain one benefit. Afton gained his most powerful physical form yet, the blob. Likely a mass of the wire roots from the Pizzaplex's storyteller baobab tree. Okay, hold on. It's a long story, I know, but that's going to have to be its own video because a story came out that tells about a storyteller baobab tree that goes throughout the whole thing, and that's how Glitchtrap goes into the Pizzaplex in the first place, but there's a lot of backstory there that we don't quite have, so I'm gonna wait for the rest of the stories to come out before I talk about it, but I will be talking about it. For now, just accept that one of the books said that there was a baobab tree replica in the middle of the Pizzaplex that had root wires that connected to everything. I think those wires are what spawned the blob, but we'll get into that in a later video. This beast of immense strength, fueled with both light and dark remnant. But as powerful as he is, this body is not suited for much more than wrecking terror. It's not suited for the steps they need to take next, that's for sure. They need to start again. They need another child. So, using the security footage they have, Vanny and Blob Afton, Blobby Williams? Vanny and Blobby William attempt to reach out to nearby Fazwatches, catching a local Pizzaplex regular, Amelia. She comes in looking to help Gregory, possibly for the promise of the secret to his high arcade scores, so she can finally beat Fruity Maze. She delves into the Pizzaplex, avoiding the on-the-loose, uncontrollable animatronics, making it down to the center of the pit, only to find Vanny waiting for her, and Blobby William prepared to wipe her mind clean. And with that new apprentice, Afton and Vanny can start again. As far as what will happen in the Ruin DLC, I think this is the best that I can come up with the information we have. Granted, the first time I ever did a Ruin DLC prediction, like the next week we got a huge lore drop that disproved everything. So, hey, fingers crossed, maybe we'll get a huge lore drop next week. For now, if you want to know more about specifically what the hell this whole GGY story is about, go ahead and check last week's video that I did covering the topic. It's a big lore dump, you do not want to miss it. Now to thank the best patrons of the channel, the Toasted Slices, Emberisk, Zenith, Ravenaris, Charlie Bean, Stormachow, Lovey Puppy, Just BKZ, Chickpea, Lola Fembo, The Viper 26, Lehan, Luzariat, James Reiner, Emily De La Sierra, Nika, Snowblossom, Givo, and Ian the Tennis God. And until next time, as always, stay toasty, Slices.